Senator Cortez Masto of Nevada is recognized from her office.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the panel members. So appreciate this conversation. And by the way, if some of my colleagues don't remember, I do, in 2007, when there were new financial products that were offered by Wall Street called mortgage-backed securities. And then they were followed by other financial products, teaser rates, adjustable rate mortgages, interest-only loans to borrowers. And that led to the subprime mortgage meltdown that caused the recession starting in 2007. So I do think it is appropriate for us to be having this conversation today, and so appreciate the panelists here for their comments so far. Mr. Seligman, let me start with you. I've done some work around franchises, and I've been long concerned about unfair practice related to some franchise businesses. I don't know if you've seen, but I issued a report in 2021 called The Strategies to Improve the Franchise Model, Preventing Unfair and Deceptive Practices. Now, let me just say there are some models that are just very good business models. But as always, there are some predatory model predators within the system, and those are the ones I'm highlighting. And so, Mr. Seligman, let me ask you this. How can the promise of an independent franchise sometimes become a way to trap workers in jobs with low wages and crushing debt?
Thank you, Senator. And first, let me say I appreciate your work in this space, standing up for small businesses and for workers. Very often, we see that predatory franchise opportunities target those who have been left behind by our labor market, who are excluded from some of our most hard-fought labor protections, disproportionately immigrants and people of color. And predatory companies can go to them and they can say, look, the traditional employment opportunities haven't provided you with a path to financial success. And so instead, let me sell you on a purported entrepreneurial opportunity, the opportunity to own a small business, to become a franchisee. Instead, these companies will trap workers in arrangements where the companies exert extraordinary control, where the workers don't have the ability to set their own prices or even sometimes communicate directly with their clients. And instead of being paid wages, the predatory companies will often say, you owe us a franchise fee. And because those franchise fees can be so high, we're going to finance those fees for you, right? We're going to loan you the money to pay for the upfront costs. This can create a really vicious cycle of predatory debt and effectively involuntary servitude.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate your comments because it is an area where I would hope my colleagues would join me of some legislation to help us level that playing field and just get more information out to potential franchisees. So thank you. Let me jump to training repayment agreement provisions and how it's impacting nursing. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that we need more than 179,000 nurses to meet our national shortage. And many reasons contribute to the shortage. However, I was shocked to see the prevalence of the training repayment agreement provisions among nurses with repayments as high as $20,000. So, Ms. Gittleman, can you expand on the use of traps in the healthcare profession?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator. These traps are becoming more and more prevalent across different industries. They are infiltrating trucking, nursing, PetSmart employees, social workers, and into our medical field as well. And this is a form of employee-driven debt that not only traps consumers in that debt, but also hinders workplace mobility and exacerbates disparities.
Thank you. And Mr. Seligman, any other additional comments or things that we should be doing in Congress to address this, if anything?
Thank you. Yes, I just want to emphasize that in many of these arrangements, especially when it comes to immigrant nurses. We'll see employers justify extraordinary debts and training repayment agreements by saying that the worker entered into them voluntarily in order to have their visa sponsored. Of course, it's a fundamental tenet of our laws in this country that you can't sell yourself into indentured servitude. I think it's really important that we attack these practices as being unfair and illegal. And I'll also say, of course, like in this area, as in so many others, forced arbitration is at the root of the problem. So many workers are trapped and their rights are violated, even if, as I said, no court would ever enforce the provision that's trapping them in their jobs or purporting to authorize debt collection. They can't do anything about that because a forced arbitration provision prevents them from going to court, may require them to arbitrate in a far-off forum or pay the other side extraordinary costs.
Thank you. I know my time is up, Mr. Chairman, but thank you. And I couldn't agree more about adhesion, these arbitration contracts that are part of these, or these arbitration agreements that are part of these adhesion contracts. The consumer has no choice, doesn't get to negotiate these contracts. And that's why the arbitration clauses are so detrimental. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.